Hey. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your humble host, phizzedmusic, and this right here is Urban Politics. I want to thank you all for liking and subscribing. As you do, please, as soon as you have a chance, take your little cell phone over to YouTube. Let your fingers do the walk and like and subscribe. phizzedmusic, Urban Politics. But without further ado, I want to jump right into it like a car and drive because there's all types of tasty and delicious politics to sink our teeth into, man. I'm sorry for the over animation. Excited today. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, there's some tasty stuff to talk about. It's interesting stuff that I've been checking out. So let me talk with you for a hot sec. Check this out. Trump. We got to start with Trump. I'm not going to lie. I've said it before on this show. I'm going to say it again. I get sick of talking about this guy. I'm no fan of the man, and I'm definitely not trying to hold any of his water. But unfortunately, because of the nature of this particular Trump animal, when you talk about the news, you have to talk about him because that man dominates the news cycle. But you have to think, news ain't nothing but what? TV. What was he by trade? A TV personality. If you've seen The Apprentice, I know you've seen The Apprentice. I saw The Apprentice. Actually, after season 1, I was done. I didn't think it was all that. But the world was in love with it for whatever reason. So really, that's what the man has experience in doing, and he does it well, unfortunately. So once again, I'm leading with Donald J. Trump. So check it out. His lawyers, see, I can't even call these guys lawyers. His lawyers argue that presidential immunity covers the president even if he wants to kill his political rivals. That's ridiculous. So in the scenario that Trump is setting up, if Biden wanted to, he's the president right now, right? You know what I'm saying? Chief executive. If he wanted to, he could order the Department of Justice to just go and arrest Trump. Just go and arrest him and put him in jail for what? I'll figure it out later. So Trump is saying if he were president, he should be able to do that. But since he's setting up the premise like that, and the president who's in there right now is Joe Biden could do that in Trump's world. See how butt backwards this guy is? Anyway, it's a family show. Butt backwards. He was also saying, I heard him talking about this morning. He was also saying that without immunity, presidents can't do their job because they'll always have fear of prosecution. That's interesting that idiot would say that. Really? We've had 200 plus years of presidents and the law still stood. And somehow they were able to do their jobs, Trump. How was that? Maybe because they weren't trying to juice the country for every nickel. Maybe because they weren't going just directly against the Constitution. Maybe that's why we've been able to have all these presidents, the law still stood, but they were still able to do their jobs. Maybe it's because presidents who obviously have killed people, who obviously have commanded the killing of people, but these were people who had, nefarious means towards America, or whatever. You could delve into the weeds in that on your own. You know what I'm saying? It's called the internet. It's called Google. Do your Googles. But my point is that these guys were able to do that, still not be president anymore, still not be prosecuted. That has gone on for years. Why does Trump say now with him is something special? No, other presidents like you who broke the law like you were prosecuted like you, and actually the country was stronger for it. When we went through all this stuff with Nixon, they said it made the country stronger because it gave everybody faith in the rule of law and that no one's above it. So he needs to get that garbage out of here. But weaker-minded individuals will go for that BS. TI is what a TI is. It's pathetic. But that's the place where we're at in our politics right here in this good old America, US of A. Moving on, I want to talk some pop culture. Let's move up off the politics for just a hot second. I'm going to get back to that politics. I'm going to get right back to it, but for a hot second, let's get into some pop culture. I want to talk about NBA YoungBoy. Now, some of y'all know I dig this dude. I really like his music. His following is ridiculous. Here's a guy who doesn't get any radio play, really, because a lot of his songs, just the content, is a little too gritty for radio or whatever. He don't do love songs. This guy giving you street tales, you know what I'm saying? But this is stuff he's done. This young brother's giving you his life. You know what I'm saying? But I like that about him. He's a prolific writer. But he has 11 kids by 8 different women. Now, I heard this, and Amanda Seales was talking about on the radio. Y'all hear me reference her a lot. I hear her on the radio when I'm going into work. And she was talking about this. And she was like, him and Nick Cannon need to stop, ... I'm kind of like, Not when you're made of money. When you made of money, I say be fruitful and prosper. Listen, I have 3 children. I'm done. That's it. Because I ain't made of money. I ain't got no money. I ain't got nothing for my kids but wisdom. You know what I'm saying? And love. That's what I get. Wisdom and love, and hopefully I'll leave them a little bit of something when I walk off this planet, right? But when you are made of money like these brothers, why would you not have a bunch of kids? Think about that. All of Nick Cannon's kids will be rich, or at least have really good money to start off with. All of NBA Youngboy's children are rich. He got 11 kids. They're all millionaires. We have 11 young black millionaires. Who's mad at that? Who's mad at that? Now listen, I get the fact that people are like, okay, well here's why all this even came up, right? Or because I guess in an interview he said that he wasn't that into fatherhood. That's a quote. Even though him and his kids bond, he spends most of his time in one room. Let me unpack that real quick, because I think even Charlamagne the God was saying something about on the radio, was saying something about that, and how I didn't hear Charlamagne the God's take on it, but I imagine that he probably had a problem with this young brother having 11 kids and saying he's not that into fatherhood. I don't think he phrased that right. And I only say that because I follow NBA Youngboy. Like, he has reels, of course, on TikTok and other places and stuff, right? Always with his kids. I watch his videos. Always with his kids. I've talked about it on this show. That's one of the biggest things I like about him, is that whatever's going on, and I mean, he be around there with his boys, they smoking and all that, the kids are there. I love that. I love that, because that right there displaces the myth that men of color are not with their children. I've talked about the statistics on this show, and I want to say, if I'm off with the numbers, it is what it is, but you can Google this. I think men of color are 70 to 80 times more likely to be with their children. And like my little sister said, I can't believe that brothers ain't watching their babies. I keep seeing brothers at bus stops with strollers. Some of that. See what I'm saying? So I love that. NBA Youngboy is a real father. He loves his kids. So even though he's involved in a, kind of nefarious stuff now, you smoking the Mary Jane, and you got your boys in the back and they holding heat, and his boys is holding heat, right? The kids are there, and I love it. I love it. You know what I'm saying? He's a father to his children. So that's my take on that. You know what I'm saying? He got 11 kids by 8 different women. He is rich. Please have black children to pass on this black wealth too. That is the way that we change things for black America. My father told me 1,000,000 years ago, that's a joke, I'm not that old, when I was a little kid, you know what my dad told me? He said, Eddie, this is a country of inherited wealth. He said, if you look at the Fortune 500, 75 to 80%, these days it's probably 90 to 95% of the people on there got their wealth because someone left it to them. They didn't work hard for it. You don't work hard and get rich in America. You leave wealth, you know what I'm saying, to your kids, right? You know what I'm saying? And that's what these brothers is doing. This is what NBA Youngboy is doing, sir. I salute you. Anyway, moving on. Let's get back to the politics, ladies and gentlemen, because that's why you here. DeWine, our governor. What are you up to? Check this out. See if you agree with it. Signs an executive order banning gender transition surgeries for minors, making all trans care for people under 18 illegal. I've talked about this on this show. I haven't said too much about it because it's a sticky issue. Okay. The numbers are this. I did talk about this years ago on this show. I think there are, what did they say? Every 2 in 2,000 births are born a hermaphrodite, which means it's a person who has both sex organs. Then I did a deep dive on it, and they were saying most times that they just let the parents decide the gender. So, your child is born, they have both sex organs. You say, nah, we want a boy. They make that happen. Nah, we want a girl. They make that happen. Then there's some people who, I guess, let the person come to age to where they can make a decision. What is that? Because, dang, by the time you're 13, 14, 15, and you've had both sex organs all those years, I wonder what's going on up in here. This is a sticky issue. This is what I call, ladies and gentlemen, a hot button issue. I don't mess it much. I'm not messing with it right now. I'm just bouncing it off of you. That's what DeWine did. Now, I have seen parents transgender youth stepping up and saying that this is no joke. You know what I'm saying? These medications and this therapy helps me live. Without it, I will not be able to live. And they're fighting this right now, and I get that. You know what I'm saying? The other side is too, At this point, this is pretty much just another boogeyman for the right. I was talking to a young brother who I work with, and I told him, you're probably too young to remember this, but there was a time when Republicans would go after gangster rap, right? They would go right after it. There was a time when Ice-T had talked about, yeah, there's a problem when the president says your name in anger. Now, he had did a song, he had a heavy metal group, Body Count. What was the name of this? It was something about the police. It wasn't positive. Point being, Republicans used to go after, you know what I'm saying? Well, Republicans go after whoever they can go after, right? Right now, they're going after what? You know what I'm saying? Education, even burning books and such like that. So this is just another boogeyman, this transgender issue, because it didn't used to be an issue, right? I had seen a documentary about it with a couple of trans kids, one who had transitioned to a girl, another one transitioned to a boy. They had great lives, but they said that the people around us are so supportive. And that's what both of them said. Oh, the people around me are so supportive. My mom's so supportive. My dad's so supportive. My friends so supportive. Neighbors, all supportive. So it really also depends on who's around you, who's your environment, but that's what all of us, ladies and gentlemen, isn't it? So this is just interesting right here. Should he have done it? Probably not. Why did he do it? I think it was more political than anything. They're not doing this because they really, I mean, maybe on some hand they think this is hurting kids, and you hear people talking about kids getting talked into this stuff because there's money in the drugs that are sold or whatever, right? But like I said, it's also political. DeWine is a Republican, and he's definitely got to tote the party line, and the party line is we are against anything transgender, especially right now. So that's probably 90% of the reason he signed that. TI is what TI is. We'll see where that fight goes. Watch this space. Last thing I want to talk about before I holler at y'all about my IPAs of the week and really get out your hair. Harriet Tubman. They said she will appear on U.S. currency in 2024, but it won't be the $20 bill. They was talking that $20 bill crap, right? And oh my Lord, they pissed me off with that because Harriet Tubman is very near and dear to my heart. I really want to see that sister on the 20 because she deserves it. She's a real life superhero. I tell people all the time, we talk about Spider-Man and Superman and Batman, and these are made up heroes, and that's cool. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You know, and I love the themes that these guys have because I'm all about people helping people. I'm all about people standing and delivering. When somebody needs a hero, be the hero. You know, like PJ Masks said, time to be a hero. Sometimes it's time to be a hero. I love that. But this woman was a real life superhero. Think about that. Here's a woman who got out of slavery, then went back to get her kinfolk numerous times. Let me tell you something. For a lady, she got quiet. All right, let me calm down. This is a family show. But think of the cojones it takes to get yourself out of slavery. Then keep going back to get your brethren. That's a real life superhero. Give that woman her flowers. They're going to give her 3 commemorative coins this year. My boy D, shout out to D, he watches the show. He's a coin collector. I'm going to get with him and figure out how I can get these coins. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I'll Google this and see if you can get some of these commemorative coins because the sister deserves it. Like I said, she's a real life superhero. You know, think about that. What have you done for the culture lately? I say that to you. I say that to me too, because I ain't saved no slaves out of slavery. She did. In her day, she did it. What's bigger than that? What's bigger than that? You know, what deserves our praise more than a Harriet Tubman who got out of slavery, then just kept going back to get people who needed liberation. I love it, ladies and gentlemen. Check it out. Let's moving on to my IPAs of the week. I'm going to do it real quick so I can get up out of here. Check this out. This right here is from Brewdog. This is a cold Indian Pale Ale. Well, it's cold if you put it in the refrigerator. It's 6.0% alcohol. Hellcat. Yeah, look at that cover. That is graphic right there. Hellcat. You know, I think a Hellcat, I think it's like a car, ain't it? But this right here is a delicious beer. It's 6.0% alcohol. Brewdog, they get it in. Is that coming out right? Whatever. Brewdog, lovely beer, lovely beer. That's a good one. Now this right here is not a beer. This is a cider. I don't really mess with ciders. Back in the day, I used to drink this stuff called Hornsby Draft Cider. It was really, really good. They stopped selling it. I don't see it anymore. They used to sell this stuff called Woodchuck. It was a draft cider. It was amazing. They stopped selling that. It seems like when I get into something, that's when they don't want to sell it no more. Anyway. This is from Cider Boys. You ever heard of them? They get it in right here with this though. This Imperial Pineapple. I like it. I like pineapple though. So if you're not a fan of pineapple, you may not necessarily love this to pieces. I did. It's 8% alcohol, so that ain't bad. That's even more than most beers. Like you said, 5.5%, 5.5% or whatever. This right here is 8%. It's really, really good. Cider Boys. What does this say right here? It says, reach for the highest branch. Cider Boys cider balances delicious apples and crisp pineapple with a little something extra. I did taste all that. It was great. So there you go. So you got a little bit of money in your pocket. Run on down to the store and get those two delightful beverages in your life. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my time. I'm your humble host, phizzedmusic. This right here, this is Urban Politics. I want to thank you all for liking and subscribing as you do. Please, as soon as you have a chance, take your cell phone over to YouTube. Like and subscribe. phizzedmusic, Urban Politics. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, see you around like a donut.